When people look at a muscular American Staffordshire Terrier, they usually make assumptions. But when they see him cuddling with a tiny tabby cat, they are completely speechless. Getting these two rescued animals into the same room wasn't just hard. It took everything I had. Let me take you back to where this all started. About 2 years ago, right in the middle of a freezing winter, I got an anonymous tip about an old, boarded-up diner out on Route 9. The place had been totally empty for a decade, but the message was urgent: there is a dog trapped inside. You need to hurry. I grabbed my flashlight, threw some heavy tools in the truck, and drove out there. It was freezing, and the second I pried that back door open, the smell of damp wood and total abandonment hit me. I swept my flashlight across the debris in the dark, and I couldn't believe what I was looking at. In the corner of this crumbling kitchen was a dog. He was a stunning blue, gray and white AmStaff, but he was in such terrible shape his spirit was completely gone. He was tied to a rusted radiator, and the chain was so incredibly short he couldn't even lie down flat on the concrete. He was severely malnourished, shivering, and just waiting for someone to help. Whoever left him there intentionally left him with absolutely no way out. I dropped down to my knees in the dirt. Honestly, I fully expected him to be totally unreachable after everything he had been through. But when I reached my hand out, his legs just gave out. He collapsed onto the cold floor, let out this exhausted sigh, and just looked at me. My hands were literally shaking as I forced the heavy cutters around those thick metal links. The second the chain snapped, I didn't even try to put a leash on him. I just scooped his heavy, fragile body up into my arms. I put him in the front seat of my car, cranked the heater all the way up, and sped to the nearest emergency vet. I named him Duke. For the next month, my entire life was just a blur of antibiotics, soothing baths, and sitting on the floor at 3 in the morning. I was running on zero sleep, hand-feeding him tiny pieces of boiled chicken. I would just sit there in the dark, watching Duke's chest rise and fall, praying he would make it. Slowly, his physical health returned. But his mind was completely shattered. He was terrified of sudden movements, scared of closed doors, and he had absolutely no idea how to be a normal dog. Just as Duke was finally starting to put on some weight, my whole world got flipped upside down again. I was driving home on Interstate 95 during rush hour. Traffic was moving incredibly fast. Suddenly, the truck a few cars ahead of me swerved really hard. A tiny, dark object tumbled out from underneath its tires and rolled across the asphalt, stopping right on the white line between lanes. It wasn't debris. It was a cat. I slammed on my brakes, threw my car into park right in the middle of the highway, and literally sprinted into traffic. People were honking, tires were screeching, but I didn't care. I scooped up this tiny striped tabby cat. She was completely terrified, unable to stand, and in desperate need of help. I rushed her straight back to the same emergency vet that saved Duke. They took some x-rays and told me she needed immediate, complex care to walk again. Then, they handed me an estimate for thousands of dollars in emergency bills. Honestly, I didn't have the money. My credit cards were already maxed out from Duke's vet care. But I looked at her tiny body on that steel table, and I just said, do whatever it takes. I'll figure the money out later. I named her Chloe. Bringing Chloe home was honestly one of the most stressful things I have ever done. She was resting, heavily medicated, and she had to be strictly confined to a small recovery crate in my spare bedroom. And out in the living room was Duke, a massive, heartbroken AmStaff who had zero socialization skills. Literally everyone I knew told me I had lost my mind. They said I was putting them both at risk. And honestly, I believed them. I kept 2 solid doors between them at all times. I was working double shifts to pay off the vet bills, coming home completely exhausted, and splitting my entire life between nursing a recovering dog and a fragile cat. But here is the thing about dogs. They have this emotional radar that we just don't understand. Duke knew there was something fragile inside that room. He didn't bark. He didn't scratch at the door. He would just sit outside her room for hours, completely silent, with his white paws tucked under him and his nose pressed against the crack at the bottom. He was just standing guard. After 8 long weeks, the vet finally cleared Chloe to start walking around the house. The day I decided to finally let them meet, I was an absolute wreck. I put Duke on a tight, heavy leash just to be safe. I slowly opened the door to the spare room. Chloe limped out, her back leg still a little stiff from the recovery. She looked right at Duke. This huge, intimidating dog with a blocky head and that distinctive white splash on his nose. I tensed up. I was fully ready to pull Duke back with all my strength, but Duke didn't lunge. Instead, he immediately dropped his belly flat against the floor. He army crawled toward her, inch by inch, literally making his massive body look as small and unthreatening as possible. Chloe didn't hiss. She didn't run away. She just limped right up to his huge face. And then, I watched in total disbelief as this tiny, brave street cat leaned forward and gently rubbed her cheek right against Duke's nose. Duke let out this long, heavy sigh. He closed his eyes, and gently, so incredibly gently, he just started to lick the top of her head. Duke isn't just a dog to her. And Chloe isn't just a cat to him. Duke, the dog who was chained up and forgotten, is now her ultimate protector. He follows her everywhere. Look at them squished together on that gray bed. He wraps his heavy body around her when she sleeps to keep her warm. And Chloe, the cat who survived the highway, is the only one who can calm Duke down when his anxiety acts up. They healed each other in a way that I never, ever could. This is the real, exhausting, and incredibly expensive reality of animal rescue. It takes absolutely everything out of you. But moments like this, seeing them safe on the couch together, make every single sleepless night worth it. If you believe that the most broken animals have the biggest hearts, we need you on our channel. Please, hit that subscribe button right now. Leave a comment below to welcome Duke and Chloe to the family. Every single like and share tells the algorithm to push this video, and that ad revenue goes directly toward paying off those vet bills and saving the next animal out on Route 9. Thank you for watching, and thank you for being part of our rescue family.